All right, so here's my trade review from today. Um, I traded 7 stocks, traded quite a bit, but I did have quite a few good trades that I'm happy about. There's always room for improvement, but definitely was happy with my trading today. I'm getting more patient, trying to make the chart look pretty. That's kind of my goal lately, is just trying to do that, not look at the P&L so much, just try and make the chart look pretty, partial at key levels, orders on the level 2, things like that. Making these reviews really help. Giving names to the plays helps too. So my first trade was on TRCH, and it was in the pre-market. Was unsuccessful. So let's see here. TRCH broke out yesterday. Well, actually, it's been in play for the last 5 days here. Had a big move yesterday, lots of volume. And so I was playing some of the key levels from this morning. Here on the 5-minute, I guess in the morning, price was selling off. It was the pre-market low at that point in time in the morning, and I felt like price bounced here overnight last night and went up. So I was sort of using this same area as a bounce, like right here. And then I guess when it got down to this area, I was using it as a potential bounce up, which it did actually bounce some, but I wasn't successful with it. Plus, I don't know. I really need to stay away from the pre-market, or at least for this, maybe wait till it gets higher, pulls back, and then try and get in. But kind of timing, because this wasn't perfect, right? Like this isn't even lined up here. I guess I've been going for like the edges of ranges more and more, but I think they really only work if you have a clear range that's showing. Like you look left and you see a clear, price came down, touched this perfectly. Then price came down, touched this perfectly, and then bounced. And then here, I could have tried to go long either here or like right here, because I have this, this as good confirmation to at least try it. But anyways, okay, so then my next trade was Clove. I honestly don't know what the daily was telling me. Tyler liked it. I think he was more bullish on it. It's been in play here for a week or so, a couple weeks, but it's been selling off, and he liked something about this as a pop, and I still don't really see it. But I ended up just kind of playing the momentum up as it went up here a few bucks. And maybe I'll talk to Tyler about it sometime this week. Maybe he'll go over it in his review. But what I did like about it was this range and this price action was really condensed. And I like that, because that just screams like compression and breakout. And there was also quite a bit of volume too already happening in the morning here. So like if you can see here, right before the open, you had this little range, and then you had this little range as well. And it pretty much, at the open, it came down, tested this part of the range, bounced, and then got above this high here, and then above pre-market high, and just got above it all with like conviction pretty much. So this to me screamed like momentum, breakout type of move. Whether it turned around soon or not, I was still going to try and trade it long until it turned around. That's kind of what I like to do, or at least one of my main plays is just playing the momentum. So here you can see price took off here and then pulled back. So you had the volume here, you had a resting pullback volume here, and it was above VWAP, bounced off of VWAP, made a couple minute candle highs, and then I got long. And then sure enough, the volume kicked in really high here. This is exactly what you want to see. That felt good. And then it pulled back volume was decreasing, but I wasn't sure if it was done or not. So I added and then got out and then added in one more time. Or just got in new, I think. I think I got in fresh there with the stop below here. Because I like these where it makes a high and it makes a resistance here, and then that resistance becomes support. This at least works for a little while, you know, whether it's for this pullback and next leg up, or maybe even later in the day, which later in the day it sort of worked here, but wasn't perfect. Basically partialed at big orders. There was all kinds of orders. This was my last ad, and then I just partialed out. So I had a good couple R trade there, like 2 or 3 R, which I was happy about. And then what did I do next? Fubo. Oh yeah, so Fubo was in play. It had higher R vol. Gosh, honestly, I don't know why I was trading this either. Looked like it had a good breakup day yesterday, so I think I was playing the continuation of it. Maybe the break of this 31.5. But I guess I liked this compression here, and I was playing it long. Then it went down. I actually just don't really like the way this stock moved. I don't really think I had a good plan on that. So I'm happy with myself for only trying. Looks like I tried once. I think I tried once with an ad. So, and then I didn't try it again. So I'm glad I did that and didn't try it like 5 times. Neo. This was a really good trade of mine. So here's what I was seeing. Neo, basically been in play the last couple weeks, making great daily highs, pulling back, daily highs, pulling back. Volume was in sync with those moves, but you know, we were looking at this and we're like, this has moved quite a bit since the low here, and you know, maybe a pullback is coming up. And so I drew this trend line, and sure enough, price was opening close to the trend line, right? Just like price got down here on these other pullback days, but price really never got below it, and if it did, it probably didn't show the volume to continue. But here price was opening up right by it. It did pop up, then quickly came down to this trend line, which is right around 46, 45, 75. And so what I was seeing at the time here, so right here I was seeing a descending triangle. So here price went up and then came back down, and this is right around where the trend line was, somewhere like that. So this was that big trend line. So you can see we started near it, and then quickly within 15 minutes we were already underneath it. So that's first sign of potential break of trend line. Then you have some volume, and then I really like this descending triangle, this compression against a whole $1.45 daily level. Just a lot of pressure going down on this. Still early in the morning, only 10:15 a.m. And so it broke down with volume, which is a great sign. Retests. I drew this level here, generally this level, and then I got short here. I think my stop was a little high. I feel like my stop was somewhere up here to play it safe, but really it should have been either above this breakout candle, the candle that actually broke through with volume, or it could have even been, I could have gotten in on the new 1 minute low here with the stop right here, and that would have helped my R&R. I'm going to try to work on those more in the future, because if I'm going to, you know, I guess as I get a bit more accurate maybe with my entries, I want to get a little bit tighter. But okay, so then here's my trade. It breaks down, it continues, I partial all the way down. This was the big order, 44.11. But there were more. There were more at 44 and even below. So I tried to add, stop me out. you see how low, you see how price comes all the way back up to VWAP, and I was still short bias on this. So I tried getting in short. I like did 3 entries with like a tighter stop just above like 45 and 5 cents. Didn't work out. Tried a couple more times, wasted some money in here. This has gotten me a lot in the past where I, it's 11 to 12 o'clock here. Price is really stalling, not really doing much. You just waste a lot of money in here, so I need to work on that. But I think I did. I walked away after a couple tries in here. And then I saw it failing here again, tried it one more time, and just finally got it. And you can see how fast this dropped. So it could have very well done it right here too. So I kind of like this entry and this entry. So this was one separate trade, and then this was separate losses, and then this was my last trade on NIO here, short, big partial here at 44.50. And this was pretty cool what I did in here. So at this point, there were huge bids down at 44, 44.25, 44.11, 44, maybe even at 43.90. And so price was consolidating here, which I really like. So I added. I did not like this ad. Kyle and I were talking about adding, and I got too excited, and I added right here. Should have waited a minute because you can tell it took another half hour. Plus, I would have rather added right here first on the pullback. More of this edge of the consolidation, not for the breakout. Adding when I was predicting the breakout right here. I was predicting this move was going to happen right here, and clearly it didn't work, and that's really hard to predict. So I added in here. My stop was somewhere up here, and then price came up again, and I was just like, what the hell? I'm just going to add in again, and I got it in even tighter. Came down, partialed some of what I added in here. I partialed right here, kind of playing this cash flow of back and forth in between this consolidation. It wicked up a bit too much for me. I got a little spooked, took out some, and then it came back down, and I was just like, what the hell? And I just got super heavy right here. I added in like 3 times. My stop was 52 cents. I think it was 1 cent away from stopping me out, but I was really heavy here. Went down, hit the edge of this consolidation. I partialed 10%, and then another 10%, and then this one was a biggie right here at 44.11 and 44 even. And then these were just really tiny shares just to see if it could keep going. I mean, this was major volume right here, so this really was your climactic volume, finishing the trend type of volume, turning around the boat type of volume. But still, even after it flushed through here and went up a little bit, there were still more bids than asks on the downside. So I wanted to hold on, and I'm trying to work on that muscle of holding on as long as I can. And I held on almost to the end here. So that was pretty much a break of trend line on the daily, right? So I have that bigger picture of it's generally going to break this trend line, but how is it going to do that? And so how is by watching it intraday and seeing if it gives me setups. Does it look good on the level 2? Is it giving me patterns? And for me, it definitely gave me a pattern. It gave me this really nice descending triangle early in the morning underneath pre-market low. So this was like an A+ setup for me. I feel like this was the trend line, and here's your descending triangle, and this was just a really good, this just made sense to me. Probably why I tried so much again to get in here is because I was so convicted in this downtrend move. Okay, I had another good trade on AMC, but first I'm going to do my Apple trade. So I wasn't watching Apple all day, but I think I saw it on a scanner or something where it sort of broke high of day with volume right here. So right here, this is where I saw it at 12:45. Breaks up, has like 5 big candles in a row with volume. Looking at it now, it wasn't the best, but you know, here's the daily. Had an up move yesterday, and then let's look. 132.50 was the daily. Okay, so anyways, its ATR is 2.2. So it was as low as 131.60, and before the breakout it had moved only $1.30. So it had almost a whole nother dollar to move, which would have been from here to about here. So pretty good, right? It could almost move twice as much as it had done. So for the whole morning it had compressed. See this really nice higher lows, and then this nice top that isn't really being broken. It is broken a bit right here, but see it pull back, and then the volume kicks in. So this is a nice ascending triangle, half an ATR only here. You get your triangle, and then you get your breakout volume. Now you can potentially get this move using some patterns and some volume. That's sort of how I look at it. So Kyle and I were watching it. We pretty much, I think we saw it right around here. You know, they didn't give me a pullback, so I didn't enter. Okay, so there were a lot of asks here, all the way up. It looked really bullish in terms of the level 2, but you know, if you look at the volume, this was kind of terrible. Like this was really the only volume, and then everything else was almost the rest of the day type of volume. So it wasn't an A+ setup. I was definitely skeptical of this, but I was a bit excited and I wanted to keep trying it. So I tried it here on this pullback, thinking it was going to break up again. Got out. It finally did a pullback. Tried to get in, and it wasn't done pulling back. So then I got out, had like a half an hour loss there. The 133 point, which is mainly where this volume started, was the best pullback spot, honestly. And so it did pull back near 133, made a new 1 minute high, and I went long here, partialed up at the high, and then it came back and stopped me out. But it did end up making a good move. So let's see if it made that ATR move that I was saying. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, so it did make that ATR move. Yeah. So you got that full second half of the ATR move. So I like that. So I was reading it pretty well. Just the volume wasn't anything pretty. And you can see the price took a while. I mean, this took a while to make this dollar move. But I do like this range that it created. This is sort of how I like to trade, honestly. You know, I get in here, partial up here, get in here again, partial up here, and then eventually it breaks out, which it sort of did over here. And then right here, you know, you could add with the idea of it making it to that end of that ATR up here. So you add in here, get in down here, and the volume does pick up, which is nice. I was hoping the volume would have done that starting here. So I lost some money there, but then I made some of it back here, almost to break even. AMC. So AMC here, same thing, ascending triangle all day. Ascending triangle all day. 55 was the number right here. Couldn't break it, went down. Couldn't break it, went down. Higher lows. Compression, tons of stops are going to be placed above here, more and more and more, until boom, you get this breakout volume. The volume stays pretty high the rest of the day compared to earlier, right? I guess I was thinking it was going to reverse down here. I don't know if I was seeing a bigger picture, but I was just playing this this momentum breakout. So there was a huge ask at 55. I think it was 55 even. And so I just got in right before it, saw volume start to pick up, and it really took off. And it just went up the rest of the day, really. Partialed a lot here, almost added in on this pullback and above this daily level. But I didn't want to get too cute. You know, that ad would have only been 15, 20 minutes after. Felt like it price could have came all the way back down maybe and then continued, or maybe would have pulled back more, so I didn't want to over add. And then it broke out again with more. You could see this volume going down, and then volume goes up again. Next leg up, partialed on the way up. It was mainly partialing at whole dollar and half dollar levels. I was trying to partial as little as I could and hold the core for higher, because I did feel like this had the potential for, you know, like 57 was one of my main targets. If you look on the 15-minute here, so we broke out from this 55 right here. 55 right here, right? Here was your compression. So we broke out, okay, and so where is it going to stop moving, stop going up? Well, a couple days ago we had this S3 traverse down, and it completely turned right around from here. So that's right at 57. So I looked at that. It was also a nice level yesterday where it came down and then couldn't get any higher than 57. So I liked 57. Yeah, I liked 57, but it ended up going higher to 58, which is fine with me. And so I held on to a few more shares for after 57, got 58 or almost 58, and then a little above 58, and added just a couple more shares, and then finished all out here pretty much at high of day. So that was pretty much a high of day breakout, but it was combined with this really nice and clear compression. I mean, clear 55, 55, 55, and then you have this huge ask right at 55, higher lows. I mean, this thing needs to at least hit 55 and do something. Like, you know, it even could have hit 55 and then nothing would have happened, and then it could have just tanked. That's fine, but at least, you know, something was needing to happen right around here. And it definitely looked more bullish than bearish to me. Oh yeah, plug. So plug, I didn't trade correctly, but I really wish that I would have looked at this differently because I liked it a lot. Plug. So this is a pretty nice couple inside days in a row here. I just drew these lines to show you a nice little range compression here. Then price opens up above all of these days, right? So it's already bullish here in my mind. And it had a high R-vol. I can't remember if there was news on it, but it had a high R-vol, so I bet there was news. And then, so here's what I really like about this. A nice range that was created in the pre-market. It didn't have a ton of volume, so this is kind of choppy. But you can kind of see a nice range here between 39.60 and 29.85 here. And so I didn't like all these wicks. So right before the open, it goes up. Okay, yeah, so about like 20 minutes before the open, that's when volume really kicked in. So something must have happened around there. And so it did this, but it held this pretty well, held this high at this range. It wicked through it a few times, but honestly, I would have tried to get in long here with pre-market high being a potential target, and then this could be an R4 breakout. You know, this could be that bigger idea daily breakout, which is what happened. But instead I try to short, and one more short. Basically, I just heard Thor saying he wanted to short it, and it talked myself out of it. But I really like this here. Even later, I could have tried it again if I had missed this, which honestly, this was a little bit confusing to me and hard. Just these wicks are really, really big. But I would have liked this better. It came back, test the top of this range. Still looking bullish. Get long here. Partial around here, around VWAP. And then if it keeps going, you hold on, maybe even add in here at pre-market high with this bigger idea that this is going to keep going. ATR on this bad boy was 1.65, which would have been, right here's 30.4. So really, one ATR is only like that. It's a little surprising. But I mean, this thing can move a lot more than 1 point. Yeah, I mean, this thing can move $5 easily. This thing can move $3, $4, $5 easily, which is what it did today. It moved almost $5, at least $4. So yeah, I could have tried to figure that out and hold on to some shares for this breakout. But I don't know. Maybe the volume isn't amazing, because looking at it now, you had this. Kind of this climactic volume compared to everything else right here at high of day, and that might have shook a lot of people out or something. But I mean look, then volume really dies off though, and it's still only at pre-market high. So I don't know, and then you see volume start to pick up again. So I think there's some reasons to stay long in this if I were to get it long. So, but I really do like this play. You know, the daily was really nice, and then you open up right above the daily, this daily range, and then you see some volume clearly picking up 20 minutes before. You know, people are talking about it. It's going to be in play, and then on top of that, you have a nice little range here that you can play against, and you're towards the high of it, right? So you stay above it. It rarely got below this high of this range here, so I should be bullish this whole time it's up here. And maybe even bullish when it's above the bottom of this range until it gets below it or something. Then I'm more bearish, because then if it does get below it, right? If it gets below it, then it's a fake break up. So say it goes up and then it comes down, but then it gets under in here, and it gets under this daily these daily inside days. Well, if it gets in here and gets caught in here, there's probably a lot of past shares traded in here, so it's going to get caught in here and maybe go back down to the bottom. And maybe even if it had a lot of volume, our volume, and was doing that, it probably would have gone down to the bottom and then kept going and been like a sell the news type of play. But that would have been a lot. That would have been having to get back in here and then getting under and using all this volume to do that. But I think the way it opened definitely looks more like a gap above a daily range, pulls back, and then boom, all this volume takes it that direction up. So I think those are all my trades. What I could do better here, NEO. I loved this trade. It made sense to me totally. I think next time I see something like this setting up, I want to get heavier right here. Whether that's maybe just add another half a tier to my entry, or maybe get in a little tighter. And even if it stops me out, try it again. Just really fight for price up here and really get in tight, but then hold on for this big move. Once it gets underneath, know that I'm in the big move, and then hold on to those large shares and really try to get a 3, 4, 5R trade out of this, because I kind of know what's going on. Another thing that I could do better of is not this. So you know, when with these big trend days, you do see these really big moves, and then for it to make it further to these bids down here, a lot of times price does have to pull back, sometimes all the way up to VWAP, sometimes all the way up to even pre-market high, or excuse me, pre-market low. Um, probably not in this setup, but maybe, and then it eventually goes back down. So I just need to be patient in here and not try so many times here. I don't know, maybe even do, like with these entries, maybe do one of these entries and just have a wide stop. And then once it starts to go down, maybe I can add in here once I see volume start to pick up. And then for Clove, yeah, I was okay with Clove. So that's pretty much it for today. Thanks.